Good job, Turbo. Good job.
I thought I told you time and time again that we won't stop. Back it show by show, I'm tryna triple and double the pot. Book for at least 6 figures, a show or more for him on out. 6 figures. Pooping at 25 rows, all great interior whenever it's cloudy. Never they better my growth from chasing health and wealth, not clout. Baddies under my belt, I cook like a chef on Mr. Chow. Ain't been going no sprees, but I spend G's whenever I browse. Mink on all of my carpets at the house, I walk on clouds. Soon as I get out this work, I'm out the door, I'm in it out. Every girl slapping and burnt just like a perk, I'm in her mouth. Better them grins my turf, I got out of the dirt without no doubt. Money keep coming and coming, we saving the winter, this summer we wildin'. I can't even call it freestyling, I'm one of designing, the style ain't free. Travel to go like a charter, I'm going back to Saudi to pick up the cream. Landing that A, hit the office, I got a new offer that I gotta read. I'm the same one, took the top off on one of the rappers, they got him intrigued. Send back, land on the summer.
Greetings and good evening, and welcome to the Season 3 premiere of what is sure to be an electrifying, engaging, and informative exchange of conversation between myself and my brother Griff. How is it going, ladies and gentlemen? What's cracking, everybody? My name is Drew, and I'm one of the two co-hosts of this awesome, and I do mean awesome, live sports talk show where we journey down the road of college football and the National Football League from the opening kickoff to the final whistle for both the NCAA and the NFL in January and in February. Being what we consider ourselves to be astute students of the game of football, we are going to take our time throughout this upcoming season, not only to analyze the game, each and every game on both the collegiate level and the National Football League level, but we are going to go behind the curtain and explain what happened, why it happened, and how it happened, and why teams find themselves in the predicament that they just may find themselves. But before we do all of that, we got 6 months to talk about football. We have to take care of a little bit of housekeeping. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a minute since we've seen each other. Back in February, when we closed the show of Season 2, crowning the Philadelphia Eagles as the new Super Bowl champions, dethroning the two-time defending Kansas City Chiefs. Well, we're here again 6 months later. Many teams look very different. Many teams have different approaches in 2025 that did or did not work for them in 2024, and I cannot wait to talk to my brother Griff about this over the next unfolding 4, 5, 6 months. And I look forward to the Roundtable family, not only for joining us, not only for supporting us, but to be actively engaged in each show's dialogue, providing your real-time feedback, agreeing, disagreeing, enlightening myself and Griff on what we are talking about at that particular time. But my man Griff, brother by covenant, I've known this young man for well over 23, 24 years. I've had the pleasure of serving with him in the United States Army. And in those 24 years, we've all at some point done what we thought what was right, whether it be a one-time event or whether this was something that we were able to put together multiple days, multiple weeks, multiple years, and turns into a testimony. And when we have a testimony to give, it is our obligation to bring that testimony to fruition. And many of us have a talent to transfer our testimony into words, collectively put those words in a book and produce such fruit for public consumption. And since we last met, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, some of us are doing great and wonderful things out in the world. And Griff is one of those someones who continues to leave his mark, who continues to have an implant or an imprint, not an implant, an imprint on how you are to contribute to society in a positive way. So it is my pleasure, my honor, my Man, where you been? I ain't seen you in a month of Sundays, as they would say. Welcome to season 3, Brother Griff. I look forward to the dialogue, man. And are you ready to talk about some football? How you doing?
Let's get it, man. Let's get it. Hey, did you say book? Did you say book? Did you say book, man? My bad. Hey, man. Hey, look, man. Drew, man. It's been a year. I mean, it feels like it's been a year. It's been a minute since we first left. We did our final episode for season 2, man. I'm just glad to be back. Yes, I have been doing some things while we've been gone to keep my mind occupied, to stay fresh and stay sharp. I did come out with a book. Don't talk about it, be about it. It talk about 7 barriers that I see hold people back from reaching their goals and getting to that next level. And it was something that I always wanted to do, something I wanted to, off the bucket list, and I did it. The support that I done got has been beautiful. I encourage everybody that's watching this, and I know y'all didn't come on here to get a grip selling this book, but I'm doing it, and just deal with me for a couple of more seconds. But if you haven't got this book, man, I encourage you to go get it. It's a simple read. I created this book for the people like me with ADHD that has short attention spans. It's not a big, long book. You can get through this book quick, but it got a lot of good teaching points in there. And with that being said, talking about this book, and I'm going to put it down now, let's talk about Micah Parsons and how Micah Parsons didn't talk about it, but he been about it. So, Jordan, if you can go ahead and let's go ahead and talk about the Micah Parsons trade. And what we was going to talk about was, how this affected Micah Parsons, how this affected the Cowboys as well as Green Bay. We all know that Micah Parsons is one of those generational talents. I mean, we hadn't seen anything like him. The speed, what he does to a team, as far as his leadership, his ability. He's one of those guys that always, since the minute he entered the league, he turned out to be one of the best players out there. And so, as far as for Micah Parsons, man, if you're not being valued, and I talk about that in my book, if you're not being valued, then you go somewhere where you are valued. And Jerry Jones, as far as for the Cowboys, well, let me say this for Micah Parsons. He's going somewhere now where he feels valued. He's definitely made this team a lot better by his presence. The Green Bay already had a great offense. They didn't have a shabby defense, so they just made that defense even better. So, they predicted that Green Bay is probably going. They chances of making it to the Super Bowl just rose quite a bit because of this trade. As far as for the Dallas Cowboys, yeah, if you followed us last year, anybody that followed us last year heard me say this. I said, hey, if we trade Michael Parsons, if Jerry really want to win, and I know it wasn't a popular topic or comment, but if Jerry really wanted to win, he could have done and had a blockbuster trade like he did when we did Herschel Walker. Now, for me, being a Cowboy fan as long as I have been and been here since before Jerry came and since Jerry came, his timing is never perfect. Never perfect. I say Green Bay came out on top in this trade as far as all you get is 2 number 1 picks and whatever. This is why I say the time was not perfect. One, it causes disharmony in the locker room. You just lost a leader in the locker room. Plus, just like last year when you was dealing with the same problem with Dak and CeeDee Lamb, you wait till the week before the season start, and then you expect all this, greatness. But in his mind, he feels as though the team just got a lot better. Yes, we got a run stopper, but you know what? That again, that don't help when you don't have somebody to be able. All that's gonna make teams do now is throw the ball. Our secondary is still questionable. So okay, you bring somebody in that can stop the run, but if you don't have nobody to put pressure on the quarterback like Micah Parsons does on every play in every game, that quarterback, he just made the NFC East tackles feel a little. They took a sigh of relief knowing that Micah Parsons is gone right now. As far as for Green Bay, I think Green Bay said, "Hey, we want to win now." Mm-hmm. We're worried about the number 1 picks, and as we can see, having a number 1 pick really don't mean nothing going into the season right now. Maybe in the future, hey, who knows? Jerry could trade those picks next year and probably get a whole better team. But I just think this was too late. Should have been done. And this is what happened when you play roulette with people. Yeah, everybody ain't gonna sit around like Emmett or some of those other guys or the Dak Prescott. Cause see, this is what happened, and I'm gonna shut this up, Drew.
No, take your time.
No, people get upset with Dak. They get upset with CeeDee Lamb last year. But like I said last year, yesterday money and today money ain't the same. You can't be mad at Dak and CeeDee because they got all that money, and you can't be mad at Micah Parsons. And here's the skinny: Micah Parsons actually went back in the room and say, you know what? Let's do this thing. But Jared's like, no, you're gonna do that fifth year option, and if you don't do it, then we'll get rid of you. Okay, so you don't value me. I got it. All I done for this team to make us competitive. It's okay. So that's my take on the Michael Parsons trade. It's more only the future gonna tell whether or not it was a good trade or a bad trade. But right now, being a football player and played the game, I love Michael Parsons, but it's a team sport. That just means other people gonna have to step their game up. All right. Yes, you lose a good player, but again, all these guys is millionaires, and they just gonna have to step their game up. So I'm more concerned about what my offensive side of the ball look like, to be honest. So I turn it over to you, Drew.
Man, it is so much there to digest. Jordan said before we came on air that this is the absolute perfect topic to kick off the season with. Following up that apropos introduction that you provided about the book that you put together and put out into the world. So again, congratulations on a phenomenal book. You want to know how good this book has to be, ladies and gentlemen, not only to represent Griff's name, but more importantly to me, to make it onto my book club wall. It's a very good read. He up there with people like Dr. Daniel Black. He up there with people like just Octavia Butler. He ain't up there with no shenanigans now. So job well done, my man. I am extremely proud of you. Congratulations to you once again. We go from cheering to the reality of the Cowboys doing what the Cowboys do, because this is the Cowboys and they are just a public spectacle. They're not a football team, ladies and gentlemen. They are the sports entertainment world's biggest soap opera. Man, how do we unpack this and how does it look for each interested party? The Cowboys, how does it affect the Cowboys? And I want to talk about how it affects the Packers long term and short term, and whether or not this was a perfect storm for Micah Parsons. But I'll begin with the Dallas Cowboys. And what is the Dallas Cowboys? If it's not Jerry Jones, it's not anything. Jerry Jones is the face of the Cowboys, and he has been the face of the Cowboys for the past 35 years. And in those 35 years, he has produced 3 Super Bowl titles. All of those Super Bowl titles happening from 1992 to 1995, or 91 to 95, right? In that first 4 or 5 year run with Jimmy Johnson, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and the rest of the best team in the early 90s. I know that the 49ers were right there, but the Cowboys were the gold standard in the early 90s. Now, what Jerry Jones has turned the Cowboys into is a $200 million investment into a $13-14 billion global entity. And that has superseded winning and the interest for winning. It is about the show. It is about the store. But when you lose the brightest of your stars intentionally, the luster is no longer there. And how this transfers for the Cowboys, you said that trading Micah was not necessarily the bad part. It is when you traded Micah and what you got for Micah. You made mention of possibly getting that Herschel type deal if he had did it back in March before the draft, when teams had all kinds of capital to give up, and you can count on the Cowboys or Micah Parsons garnering at least 3 first rounders, possibly 3 first rounders, 2 second rounders, something close to what you got for Herschel. And the handshake deal that Jerry said that he had with Micah Parsons back in March for $40.5 million a year. Come on, man. You mentioned it, Griff. Yesterday's money is not today's money. And that handshake deal would have cost Micah Parsons $48 million. He went from a $40.5 million a year per contract to a $47 million a year contract with 120 of it already in his pocket as soon as he signs the contract. 136 fully guaranteed. So we are talking $47 million a year for a non-quarterback, making more than Patrick Mahomes, who makes $45 million per year. The gold standard has been set, and Jerry Jones simply did not want to be the one to pay that again, because he did it with Dak last year or the year before, right? And no, last year or the year before, and with CeeDee Lamb in his contract. The best player on your team, you intentionally trade. This was not a football move. This was strictly personal. When Jerry Jones reached out, you said Michael reached out. I don't know. None of us was there. It don't really matter because the deal has been done. But one side felt disrespected, and then the other side felt disrespected because now it is don't talk to me, talk to my representation like you should have been doing from the very beginning. But the handshake deal don't work in 2025 like it did in 1990. Okay, so let us come back to reality, boss. And that didn't work out for him. And Micah ends up getting traded. Who comes out on top? The Cowboys, Micah, or the Packers? I'm going to tell you right now, it is not the Cowboys. This trade is not going to be good for the Cowboys. I don't care if Jerry Jones packages that 30th or 28th or whatever first round draft pick that the Packers are eventually going to have next year and combines it with theirs to move up into the draft because it's going to cost them this year. They were already the third best team in the division. Now they are still the third best team, but the Giants got a shot at not being the bottom dwellers in the NFC East this year. So the Cowboys at the very top of the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, the Saints might be the 32nd best team in the National Football League this year. So you will not be hearing me talk about the Saints in a positive manner too much this year. But the Cowboys might be right there with them. So you heard it here first. Neither one of those two teams will be competing for a playoff spot come December.
You hit it there. That's what Jerry do, man. I mean, I don't know if you've seen The Gambler and his Cowboys on Netflix, man. But this is what he do, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, this is what he do. He this is how he make money. You know, he has definitely proven that he don't want to win. I don't care. He can get on there and talk all day, but he don't want to win. I think the Cowboys will be last in the NFC. Thank you, Troy. Along with the Raiders.
Now the Raiders gonna be sneaky good this year, man. I'm telling you.
Time is gonna tell, man. I don't think the loss of Micah Parsons is gonna be as painful as many people think. Again, it's shock value. I'm a football. I just know it's a team sport, so I think they're gonna be better. I just wish that Jerry would have done this sooner. That's all my thing is. I mean, that's what pissed me off, or that's what frustrates me the most, that he didn't do it sooner. Because it will pour over into at least the first half of the season as far as these guys trying to gel. If he done it before the draft, he already have stuff in place. They can already start gelling as a team. But the storyline all during summer camp is this. This has been the storyline, and you can't tell me that don't affect a locker room, man. So,
yeah.
I
mean, now you said that peeling the onion back and whether or not it's going to have a real negative impact on the Cowboys defense. Now, Michael was your sack guy.
Yeah, he was.
More than the second and the third leading sack guy on the team. Now, that's all in passing situations. He was counted upon to apply pressure to quarterbacks. Where you had those gaps where Jerry was right was saying that our run defense suffered a little bit even with Micah there. Mm-hmm. You say you got a run stopper in return in the defensive tackle that you got from the trade with Green Bay, right? And coming into the season, whether or not the Cowboys addressed that in the offseason, either through free agency or the draft, did you fill the gap in the defensive run game plan? right? Has that even been addressed? Forget Micah. Micah was your pass rush guy. Have you plugged the gap with other players in the offseason to give your new head coach a shot of having a decent season? Or is it going to be, well, the Texans going to be the team in the state of Texas? Which one is it?
Hey man, I'm gonna plead the fifth.
Don't know. Hey, you remember some things I have a perfect memory about, man. Something I just remember it like it was 5 minutes ago. And during our last show back in February, at the very end of the show, we were talking about team rankings and what we're gonna do next year for our team. And I specifically asked you, man, because I was talking about the Cincinnati Bengals and whether or not the Cincinnati Bengals were going to address their defensive woes. And I asked you as we were closing out, I said, man, how about them Cowboys? What y'all gonna be looking like next year? What you know what you told me?
What I said, Drew.
You said, man, we all in. We good.
Hey, I was hoodwinked. I was bamboozled. I was led.
He said, we all in. I said, okay.
Jerry said that. He said that. Jerry say all in, man. I mean, but it is what it is, man. We gonna see, man. Hey, we didn't gave the Cowboys too much time, man.
No, yeah. This actually warranted the Cowboys being in the A block and getting their just due. Because like Jerry said, if the Cowboys are not in the news, I'm gonna make sure I put us in the news. And that's what he did, both on the national level and at the local level. So I know the presses have been burning in Dallas, Texas over the past couple of days, with especially the comparison between this trade to the Luka trade. Both of them head scratchers. Both of them don't make sense. Both of them, the team that got rid of their superstar player came out on the short end, and the Cowboys shall suffer from this trade. So I'm just putting it out there at the very beginning.
Make sure you record that, Jordan.
Man, come on. Hey, that's like being a prophetic. So anybody could predict this one.
Okay, hey, like Troy said, okay, Negro Damas.
Let's move on to more important things that happened over the past 6 months. Again, I like to do a recap of sorts to ensure that we talk about teams that accomplished a national championship or some type of title over the past 6 months and give them their 30 seconds, 60 seconds of recognition at the very top of the season. To let us not forget that it's not always about football. There are other important sports that keep this train of society going. So a quick shout out to the NCAA basketball champs, the Florida Gators, who won a very, very, very close game way back in April against the Houston Cougars, if I recall. Where this was a 2-point victory for those Gators, man. So SEC, job well done. The women's basketball, UConn Huskies do it again. Another title for Gino Auriemma. That makes, about 12 for him. So congratulations to the UConn Huskies on another NCAA championship. And the NCAA baseball, add another title to the already 8 national championships for those Mighty Tigers from LSU. Another World Series championship. Congratulations. Griff already salty, man. First show. All right. Softball championship. Hey, keeping it in the SEC. Congratulations to those Longhorns down there in Austin. Winning a very, very competitive softball championship series. I remember watching that playing against Texas Tech and their phenomenal pitcher. Ended up winning a 2-game softball World Series championship. So congratulations to the Lady Longhorns. And closing it out, the NBA Finals, man. The best team all year, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the youngest team in the National Basketball Association, and health and having the Triple Crown winner, SGA, the league regular season MVP, the Finals MVP, and the leading scorer, with a phenomenal cast of young superstars Oklahoma City Thunder finally brought a title to OKC. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to each and every one of the teams that I just mentioned on a phenomenal year in your individual sport. Now, man, I talk about football, being a student of football, studying the game of football. But I tell you, Griff, I tell you, Griff, I tell you, Griff, I tell you, bro, there is nothing like college football. It is the heartbeat of American sports to me. It is the fuel that makes the engine just go, and it is the fuel that makes the engine go because of the passion associated with each one of the collegiate games. Right now, you have Georgia Tech going up against the University of Colorado, kicking off the opening weekend for most colleges across this nation as it pertains to college football, with some huge, and I do mean huge, opening season or opening weekend games, man. And I am so looking forward to it. Tomorrow is going to be just a game after game after game that you will be looking forward to way in late November or early December, depending on these teams. Every one of these teams that we're going to talk about tonight could be in the college football playoffs, could win their respective conference, with the exception of Notre Dame not being in a conference, and could possibly be in a national championship game competing for a natty come January in 2026. We got the opening game between what preseason says are two of the best teams in the country. Two teams that played each other last year. Two teams that played each other last year in the college football playoffs, right? And they are going to have an impact at high noon tomorrow. The number one team in the country versus the number three team in the country. Texas Longhorns traveling up to Columbus, Ohio, to the Horseshoe to take on the defending national champions, the OSU Buckeyes, Ohio State, OHIU, man. Are you looking and ready for some college football?
Drew, man, first of all, man, I think in all my days, man, I don't think we've ever seen playoff implication games such as these, like right off the bat. Normally some of these heavy hitter teams always have like a tune-up game prior to doing this. But I think because of how the 12-team playoff thing been set up and how they started to look more strength of schedule, teams to start picking some of these. Although some of these schedules was made way out, and we didn't think that these was going to have these implications that like they do right now. Definitely looking forward to tomorrow, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, don't call me. Like I said, I'm not ready to put the rules out there. It's football season. Hey, if somebody die, don't call me. Ain't nothing I can do. They already dead. Give me a phone call after I call you after the game. I'm looking forward to it, man, because of the games that's played tomorrow. Just like you said, the Texas, Ohio State, man, right off the grip, bro. That's how you started. Although let's dial it back a little bit, because like last night, they had a team that was projected to be going a little further than everybody thought, and they got blowed out last night. Boise State got blowed out by South Florida last night, and so that's the beautiful thing about football. Any given Saturday or any given Sunday, these teams that people predict to do certain things. So I think that this game is, and then we talking about the Texas and Ohio State game. This is a game one where Arch Manning finally gets to be that guy. We done seen sparks. It's been a whole bunch of people talking about him, but now it is no excuses. So we're gonna see. I mean, playing for Steve Sarkisian, man, one of the best offensive minded guys in the game right now. I think he gonna probably have like 12 plays set up. But on the flip side of it, you got Matt Patricia that's over there, the defensive coordinator for Ohio State. And I just think, being up there in the shoe, this is going to really let us know just how good of a player of Arch going to be. because he's getting ready to go up there. I mean, one thing, these games, I don't think these games going to hurt any of these teams' opportunity as far as making it to the playoffs because it's early. But they, the winners that come out of these games, they set themselves up for to be one of the teams that on the back end. I just think the Ohio State and Texas game is going to tell a lot, and it's going to set the tone for the rest of the college football season.
No, you're absolutely correct, man, because the implications of these specific games at the very beginning of the year for all 8 of these teams has playoff implication, but not necessarily going to hurt them if they lose this game. But it is how I lose if I lose. Now, the winners of all 4 of these games, it's not only going to propel them early on in the season in the polls, right, and the attention that they're going to get from the national media, right, but it is going to provide that late season bank money that, hey, at the very top of the year, I beat a team that is most likely going to be in their conference championship or competing for their conference championship. So that early season win is going to matter late in the season. Not necessarily their national ranking, because if they lose and they lose in a quality way, then it is not going to hurt them because each one of these 4 games are all top 10 teams, right, involved. So it is how I perform, no matter if I'm the home team or am I the visiting team. It is how I perform overall, which is going to propel me into the strength of my schedule. Now, looking at this game specifically, Ohio State versus Texas. Texas has a semi-proven quarterback. Ohio State has an unproven quarterback, right? They're the defending national champions on paper, but that is a completely different team. That was the 2024 team. This is the 2025 team, right? Where just looking at the end of last year, I do recall you and I having a conversation about the head coach, even though he had a successful season, had a string of bad luck against Michigan, and his job was literally on the line. Even while they were in the college football playoffs, people were having active conversations about his job security. And what did we say is going to take Ohio State winning the championship to save his job? So Ohio State is coming into the new season with a new mind frame. I know you made mention of Patricia's defensive coordinator prowess and history. But that's in the past, bro. What you gonna do this year, right? And Sark is an offensive guru. He has had all summer to implement new philosophies, new strategies to get Arch Manning to where he feels he can be comfortable, extremely comfortable, operating a high-paced, high-clip offense that you traditionally see at University of Alabama, for the first plug for them for the year, right? Where it was just like a all-paced machine. And it is a combination of pass and run. And that is going to be how we can tell in the first 4 drives as to whether or not Texas is for real. And they are going to be a legitimate threat in the SEC, or they got some things to address. So I'm looking forward to this game, man, at the very top of the hour. First game of the day. We catching a very good game tonight. You made mention last night, Boise State had some hopes and dreams, and they still may have some hopes and dreams, but they got skull drug last night, right? All of that preseason hype does not necessarily translate. And I'll talk about that a little later about my team as to that early season opponent being of quality and showing you what your team looks like can be something that it slaps you in the face. But I'm going with the visiting team tomorrow, bro. Texas will take this game. I think Arch Manning is going to be able to provide enough consistent plays to keep Ohio State's offense off of the field, and this is going to be a low-ish mid-20s. That's some low for college. type of scoring game, and I'm going with Texas 24-20 over Ohio State.
I got to go with Texas because of the SEC team, man. Unfortunately, that's just my loyalty to the league. I just think that even though both teams lost a lot of players to the NFL, I still get a hats off and the winning edge to Sark. I just think that they're gonna have to run the ball though. I think in order to beat Ohio State, really, I think if Texas can run the ball, which they got different running backs, they lost Blue and some of those guys because some of they offensive they receiving. I'm kind of curious what their receivers. We know what Ohio State got over there as a receiver with Jeremiah Smith and Tate, but it's a lot of new faces in the receiving corps for Arch Manning as well. So I think Sark gonna have to have a running game, and they're gonna have to be able to put pressure on the young quarterback from Ohio State. Arch has the, but I get an edge because Arch do have playing time compared to the guy that's playing and starting for Ohio State. This is his first time on a stage such as this, and I don't care how good a player you are, it can be stressful. It can be something new for him. I think this game don't hurt either team as far as the opportunity to be in the playoffs because it's early and both of them took the chance of playing a tough team. But it will set one team apart from the other one based off what the final score is.
Yes, sir. I absolutely agree. And kudos to the NCAA and the top four super conferences, as they often are referred to, as actually coming together and agreeing to play your best teams against each other at the very beginning of the season, right? To increase competitiveness, to increase viewership, to increase interest in September instead of late October, early November, and December. So these early season games where you have these national powerhouses going up against each other, the Big Ten against the SEC in these four games, the SEC against the ACC in two of the games, and then Notre Dame going up against an ACC powerhouse in Miami, right? So looking forward to the first game of the day. It's going to be a phenomenal game. Get your popcorn, get your barbecue up ready early in the morning. Get your few libation or whatever you plan on having to quench that thirst. And like Griff said, the phone's going to be on do not disturb. But he shall be on Facebook Live on this next game because the next game will be the Alabama Crimson Tide and their second-year coach, DeBoer, trying to prove that he can still fill the shoes of Nick Saban, who is still making commercials, by the way. So he shall never go away. The aura of Saban lives on forever. Going up against the Florida State Seminoles, who is still trying to recover from recent years of disappointment. This is a big game because this is the SEC top dog going up against an ACC top dog on prime time Saturday afternoon, right out the gate. We all know that Alabama used to play in high schools the first week, but you know, this is a test for both teams at the very beginning of the year. What are you looking for, Griff, from your Roll Tide team this year, my man, to make sure that y'all are right there in December, not only competing for the SEC title, but for a top four position possibly in the college football playoffs?
One, I'm looking for a better offensive line play. I want to see us run the ball a little bit more. Last year we was Jalen Miro focused running with all that receiving power that we had. Jalen Miro didn't have the ability to get those balls to those receivers. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing what Ryan went, but I also want to see the defensive side. What made Alabama that team that everybody was afraid of? It wasn't so much the offense; it was the defense. And in recent years, Alabama defense just have not flipped the bill for me. So I want to see, based off what I've been hearing, I want to see what the defense look like. And as well, I want to see a more disciplined team. I think the boy, he came in and he tried to change it up a little bit from how Nick Saban let the guys let their hair down. But Alabama had a lot of disciplinary problems last year, and I'm hoping that he tightened that shot group up. But I don't just go into this game thinking that Bama gonna blow out, because on the other side of that ball, FSU then went over there and got one of the guys that was able to beat Nick Saban a couple of times by the name of Gus Malzahn. So I'm looking to see what that offense is gonna look like over there for FSU. I don't think FSU gonna have a season like they had last year. Last year was, in my terms, that was an outlier for FSU. As long as I've been on this earth, they've never been a team that, even when they don't have great years, they didn't look like they looked last year. And I think that they're going to be an opponent. I don't think that the spread that they got out there for Alabama right now, I don't think that's accurate. I think it's going to be a very close game because it's going to be Ty Simpson. But I think at the end of the day, Ty is going to be okay. I think this is the boy's second season. He's not under the shadow of Nick Saban anymore. Most of these players is his players. And so that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, Drew.
Okay, man. I feel you on that. It's definitely going to be an exciting game. It is definitely going to be a game where you're looking for big plays from both sides of the ball, from both teams. Because you made mention about DeBoer's second year. He's had an entire year to really, really implement his philosophy and his imprint on the team. You made mention of the disciplinary problems or issues that Alabama ran into last year that were not of usual behavior, so to speak, because of the type of system that Nick Saban ran. But DeBoer possibly tightening that up. The first and probably the only time that you'll hear me say it before tomorrow's farewell show. Not so fast, my friend. Having the transition of tightening up my discipline, if I've never had a tight discipline track history, I don't think that's going to be something that is vastly improved unless he's brought somebody in to implement discipline for his team. So I don't foresee Alabama having a significant cut down on the disciplinary issues. But that set aside, they are still a team that should be there come late November, early December, competing for a playoff position. And this game is going to kind of put your quarterback either on, I won't say on the scene, but it'll show the type of offense that DeBoer is going to run in 2025, at least for me, because you're not bringing a scaled back playbook to this first game of the year because your opponent is an opponent who can actually beat you right out of the gate. So Alabama knows the importance of having this early season victory in their pocketbook because of the quality of the opponent, the quality of the conference, and the national visibility that is at stake because it is a primetime Saturday afternoon game tomorrow at 3:30. So, ladies and gentlemen, football is back. And right out the gate, we have quality games. So I'm looking for a phenomenal game between the FSU Seminoles, the Florida State University Seminoles, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. But again, as Griff often says, I'm going to go with the SEC team on this. Roll Tide. They should beat Florida State by at least 10 points, in my opinion. But this is going to be an entertaining game because both teams are going to be able to have offensive success. So I look this game to be somewhere around 38-27, Alabama. But it's going to be a very good game.
All righty then. Thank you, Drew. We appreciate your support.
Hey, this is the objective, Drew, in 2025. I have no more allegiance to any team because the Saints are going to make me realize every single week. Trust and believe. So I've detached myself emotionally, except for this very next game. My man, bro, I love that LSU always accepts the challenge on opening weekend because LSU always plays a nationally known team every single opening weekend over the past 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. And this year is no different. The rematch that was from the 2020 national championship game between the Louisiana State University Fighting Tigers against the Clemson Tigers. Both teams call home the Death Valley, where dreams go to die in Baton Rouge, the Red Stick. I don't know what they do up there in Orangeburg. Probably, roll oranges down the hill. But LSU is traveling to the fourth ranked, many people believe the best team early in the 2025 season. Clemson Tigers to take on a team that everyone, I won't say everyone because that is being presumptuous, that many of college football interests predict that Clemson is going to be one of the best teams come December. And LSU has that possibility as well, if not only do they go into Clemson tomorrow and represent well, because Gus Nussmeier, who is LSU's returning starting quarterback, has a rocket for an arm. We saw it last year. It's just that sometimes he just lost control of the ball and just tried to thread the needle just a little too much. But he's coming back leading an offense that not only is going to put points on the board, but has put Brian Kelly on notice for not being able to win that first game of the year against any quality opponent since his arrival. This is year 3 or 4, Mr. Kelly. Your time is about to run out. So this is the time that LSU needs to show up. What are you looking for from my Tigers in this game against a very good Clemson team who was in the college football playoffs last year, even though they kind of snuck in through the back door? But what do you think this game is going to come down to for each one of these two teams?
For your team, it's going to be the defense. We already know that y'all got offense. I mean, y'all had offense throughout the season, but y'all defense is the reason why y'all didn't have a better record last year. And I think that's going to be the issues, especially within y'all secondary and being able to stop the run. I don't know if you looked at that SEC documentary that they got on Netflix as well. And that was, again, y'all Achilles heel. So the defensive side of the ball, y'all had a couple of transfers come through there that's supposed to make y'all look a little bit better, but we'll see. On the Clemson side of the ball, Dabo has been that guy that believes in building his team from the ground up. So most of his players been there the whole time. I mean, his quarterback been there with him and all his players. 80% of his team has been there. So that's why people saying that Clemson probably have, because they got a team that's more jailed than most of the other players. On that side of the ball, I just want to see how Cade Cutler play, because for me, I think that's going to be the determining factor how far Clemson goes as their quarterback play. I think they have always had good receivers, running backs, and defensive play, and they playing in the ACC, so they're going to be okay as far as that. But as far as playing against LSU, I want to see just how are they able to capitalize on the areas where LSU is lacking on the defensive side of the ball. So those are the two things that I'm watching: the quarterback on Clemson side and your defense.
Yeah. I would have to say you are spot on, especially as it pertains to the LSU Tiger defense, right? That was the Achilles heel last year. Which cost LSU a couple of games. I can distinctively remember that Texas Tech game or that Texas A&M game where they just allowed themselves to get run over by a backup quarterback and who put up like 45 points on them in the second half. But anyways, the addition of a couple of key defensive backs, either through the transfer portal or incoming freshmen, have proven to be somewhat promising in the offseason, right? So look for the LSU defensive backfield to show some improvement, not only throughout 2025, but vast improvement early as compared to how they looked last year. And when you made mention of DeBoer implementing a more disciplined approach in his second year, You want to see that as part of the progression for not only him as the coach, but for Alabama as the team and the program. I immediately thought of Brian Kelly because I said the exact same thing about him the first year he was at LSU. And LSU didn't have any discipline. I said going into season 2, you need to make sure that you get a hold of this daggone team. And from the very beginning of training camp, implement the philosophy that is going to be known for the rest of the year. That didn't happen because that is not who Brian Kelly is. That is the same thing, I believe, about Mr. DeBoer. I won't see a vast improvement in the discipline for Alabama or for LSU for that matter. It is going to be what it is. LSU is going to be in a lot of games this year where the offense is going to have to outscore the opponent because the defense is going to have to be playing catch up for a variety of reasons, in my opinion. It's just the college football version of the Cincinnati Bengals. It's going to be that type of year, and we shall see. But going into Clemson tomorrow night at 7:30, ladies and gentlemen, that is the primetime game for ABC. LSU against Clemson. Both of these teams have national championship dreams. Both of these teams have national championship capabilities. It would be a much bigger leap for LSU if they were to go into Clemson and upset Clemson because I believe Clemson is like a 3-point pick, right? LSU's 3-point underdog. Not only would be a slight upset, but sets that early season stage for the SEC versus the ACC comparison, and which conference has dominance. So, of course, I'm going with the Tigers of Baton Rouge to go into Orangeburg and to defeat the Clemson Tigers and get that early season victory under their belt and propel them into the national conversation at least until they run into the meat of their SEC schedule. They have a lot of big games this year in a lot of tough places, so we shall see. But this first game, my Tigers are going to take this dub back to the red stick.
I think the Tigers will win, but it won't be the LSU Tigers. It's going to be the Clemson Tigers.
I got you. Ain't nothing wrong.
I say I'm an SEC guy, man, but I'm telling you, man, I don't have no faith in y'all defense. And
no faith.
And Dabo, because of what he has, the nucleus that he has, I think they're gonna be okay playing at home. So yeah. I think they're gonna be okay. I think it's gonna be a long night. I think Brian Kelly gonna be hitting the table again.
He said, "Daggone it." I want discipline. You remember that, man? Like, come on, my guy. We all know that was staged.
Yeah, but let's get into the priest and the what was that called back in the day? The priest and the criminals or something like that.
Yeah, man. You remember that? I remember that. That was such bias in the United States media. Y'all were bad. How dare you way back in the 80s talking about all is good with Notre Dame Fighting Irish going down to play those guys down there in Miami who are always in trouble. That was the joint back in the late 80s, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that can remember way back when, where Miami and Notre Dame were the college football centers of the universe. Jimmy Johnson, Dennis Erickson on the Miami side, and Coach Lou Holtz representing Notre Dame on the Irish side. A lot has happened since then. Neither one of these two teams has really had much success other than the Hurricanes back in the early 2000s with that dominant 2000 team, which is the second best team of all time behind the 2019 LSU Tigers. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. Argue with yourself. It is what it is. The Tigers are the best team of all time, single season. But Sunday night, 7:30, prime time, closing out the opening bid weekend, or the opening weekend, the number 6 Miami, or is it number 6 Notre Dame taking on number 10 Miami? This is a big one, man. Early season. Notre Dame were in the college football playoffs last year. Notre Dame came this close to winning the national championship. Can they win this game and then us have the exact same conversation that we had after the first week of last season if Notre Dame wins their opening season game? Because I believe it was against Texas Tech or Texas A&M. Can they just pencil them into the college football playoffs because they don't have a conference championship? They don't really have a hard strength of schedule. Let's be realistic, as compared to some of the other power teams in the country. So, is this a win and you're in game for Notre Dame at the very beginning of the year, or is this a Miami new quarterback, very experienced, Carson Beck? I got it. This is his first year in the Miami system, but he done been in college just as long as Bo Nix was. You know what I'm saying? So, are we looking for Miami to kind of spoil Notre Dame's desire to make it to the college football playoffs early in the season, or is Miami looking to kind of get a footing themselves with a new system, a new quarterback, and Notre Dame being right off the heels of the national championship game?
I think Miami spent a lot of money to get this team. They spent a lot of money to get Carson Beck and the players that they have down there. I think we're going to see a resurrected Miami. I think Notre Dame, they'll be there. Notre Dame will be there on the back end regardless of what the outcome of this game. But I think with them having a redshirt freshman out there starting at quarterback, going down to Miami, the environment, the weather conditions, it can be tough on a team. And I have to get an edge to. I mean, I'm going to cut it short, but I just see Miami as not the Miami of the 80s and the 90s, but in this particular game, I think we're going to see a different Miami than we've seen before. I mean, we saw last year with Cam Ward what the capabilities. The Miami problem is, if anything, and if Notre Dame is stick to their script, if they can keep Carson Beck off the field by running the ball like they did last year, if Notre Dame is successful able to run the ball, they got a chance in this game. But if we get to the point where they can't run the ball and it's on a true freshman quarterback, I think they're gonna have problems. And I think at the end of the day, I really see Miami coming out on top in this game, believe it or not.
I have to agree. I think Miami is the better team coming into the season, with Carson Beck being a fresh quarterback, but he's an experienced quarterback. And I'm pretty sure that throughout the offseason, they've implemented plays that will make him much more comfortable in the Miami style of offense early on in the season, and then continue to expand that playbook as the schedule allows. But coming right off of training camp into the season, having such a critical game against a national powerhouse that was in the college football playoffs last year, you're expected to put your best foot forward. And like you made mention, they invested a lot of money in the offseason to put this team together by recruiting specific players at specific skill sets. That is why Carson Beck is there. And I look for Miami to be the more proficient team at this point right off the beginning of the season. So Miami shouldn't win this game. Not going to hurt Notre Dame, as you mentioned, unless they completely get blown out, because they're going to be there in discussions in November or early December if they're able to continue or pick up and win the rest out of their game. So I look for Miami to win this game as well. Before we transition into major the discussion into NFL and opening weekend, Jordan, if you would, man, bring up the college football playoffs. I just want talk about that just for a quick second. Bring up one of those brackets. Talk about the new format for the college football playoffs and how it has been adjusted. Right? Is this new adjustment, Griff, in your opinion, going to ensure that we have the best of the best that are selected as the 12 and not just affiliated to conference A, B, C, or D, and or a mid-major conference that get an ad lower bid? So how do you think the adjustments to the college football playoffs are going to impact how teams game plan each and every week to ensure that they not only get the victory, but get the victory in such a fashion that could play a part in the decision making when it comes down to the rankings in November and December?
I think teams gonna start playing, have more conference games, and they gonna be very selective in the games that they play outside the conference if they want a chance to make it. I like the fact that the conference champions ought to get an automatic bid and buys. I think that's important, but I think it's gonna backfire on some conferences because some conferences are gonna end up having more teams. I mean, this was designed to try to give other teams opportunities. But here it is. I mean, they say, strength of schedule and what teams look like. I mean, I hate to say it, but right off the back, it opened the door for more SEC teams to be in this playoff thing because of how they playing. I mean, they playing 9 SEC games, and so which we didn't set it up to where basically we're going to ensure that we got at least 4 or 5 teams playing in this college football playoff. So I don't think it's going to ever be a end all be all when it comes to this. They're gonna keep on moving. The goalposts gonna keep on moving every year because everybody gonna think it's a better way. But I like the fact that we do have more teams playing in this college playoff. It does give other teams opportunities, and I think we're gonna at the end of the day when the smoke settle and the dust clear, the 2 teams that need to be in the college football players at the end of the season will be there.
Yeah, man, the college football playoffs, and there's many different ways to look at it and think about it, right? On average, you usually have about 100 to 120 college football D1 teams that have a legitimate shot to actually even make a mark into making it into the top 20 rankings, depending on how they are performing, their conference affiliation, their history, their teams recognition throughout the year. And whether or not the 12 teams that the best 12 teams that are going to be selected, regardless of conference affiliation, is the right thing to do. Yes, it is definitely a step in the right direction. Does the college football playoffs need to continue to expand to include more teams is a very good question that you just posed. I say yes. How far? I heard here about a week ago, I believe it was the Big Ten Conference, floating the number of 24 or even more teams. And originally, I was like, man, that's a little bit far-fetched. But when you sit back and think about it, out of a pool of up to 200 possible teams, 24 is nothing but a drop in the bucket where the NCAA basketball has 68 teams.
Yeah,
Why
football.
not increase the college football playoff pool? Because one, it is obviously going to increase revenue. It is going to increase viewership. It is going to increase original money that goes directly into the pocket of the school that is hosting the playoff game based on the seeding. It is going to extend the season possibly by a week or 2, which will generate more games for the eventual champion, which is now 15, could possibly be extended to 16 or 17, making sure that both the players and the team is properly compensated for each one of those additional games if that team makes it to the national championship game. So it is the possible. It's a conversation that these power conferences need to have, a legitimate conversation to expand the college football playoffs beyond 12 to at least 16 to 18, possibly 24, in my opinion. And you would really see the necessity to not only play those big time intra conference games like the SEC is playing 9, right? And you can kind of pencil in 5, maybe possible 6, right? It's like playing spades. I got a 5 possible 6 as the SEC based off of who we play and who they play, right?
Mhm.
Because the SEC, yeah, we are going to cannibalize each other a little bit, but those other big conferences are not having their teams represented in the top 20, and which is that is going to make a difference this year. So I'm looking
I,
forward.
I would say this, and we can move on. But like I think what Troy say, like you said, man, when the football season gonna end in the summertime? I don't think we can compare football to basketball, man. Football it takes way more toll on the player's body than basketball, and to play that many games at the end of the season, you could possibly have none of your starters there, man. All them jokers broke, man. So at some point, man, you can make it 24, you can make it 48. People still not gonna be satisfied. They gonna still say, "Hey, my team ain't get an opportunity." So I think, man, at some point we have to stop, think about the health of these kids, as well as the game, man. I know we want the revenue and to make the money and stuff. These jokers, they killing the game. I mean, they making the money, but I think we get past 12. I love football because you don't have to watch that much stuff. When it comes to basketball and baseball, it's just too many games to keep up with. That's why I love how football season is and my ability to, like I said earlier, my ADHD. I can't keep up with all that stuff, man. That's why I only look at basketball during the final, the Sweet 16. I only look at baseball during the World Series, and I only look at the NBA during the finals. That's it. I can't look at it's too many games and too many teams to keep up with.
So just because, okay, it's too early in the season. That's one of those. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout the season, you will hear the cultural reference to there go one of Griff's CBSA breakdowns, right? And what I mean when I say CBSA, he has been designated as the cultural best-selling author, the cultural best-selling author Griff for a phenomenal book. What's the name of your book, Griff?
Don't talk about it, be about it.
So that was one of those CBSA breakdowns that I'm gonna have to push back on, my man, and saying that one additional game would really hurt physically these young men. Lest I remind you that between November 28th and December 31st, teams usually have 6 weeks off if they're in the playoffs because they have 6 weeks off. So it's not like we are abusing these young men. I'm looking out both for the university, the possibility of being competitive for a national championship, because once my hat is thrown into the ring, we all know anything can happen. So the increase of one game, I'm pretty sure that could possible or have possible effects, but I don't think it would have huge negative effects.
I would say this
Good far outweighs the bad, in my opinion.
another Griff CB. Look, it won't be 6 weeks in between the playoffs, though. I mean,
Of course not.
if you add more games, they ain't gonna get. That's why I'm saying the breaks won't be there, and you won't have the ability to allow guys to get healed before the playoff game. You see what I'm saying? So that's just my take, man. But I mean, we can agree to disagree.
Okay. All right. Major things that are going to continue to happen in the evolution of the 2025 college football season, the 2026 college football playoffs, because it's going to change again next year. Mark my words. And I'm looking forward to how that continues to evolve, both for the university and individual players, making sure they both get their fair share of the pie. Now, let us move on to some things that happened between February the 9th and where we are today on August the 29th. Off-season activities in the National Football League. Griff, man, there are 3 topics that I really want to hit on. And that's why you have to stay up to date with what you plan on doing, right? There are trades throughout the offseason that are expected. There are trades that happen throughout the offseason that are planned for, negotiated, targeted to specific teams for specific players for money reasons, for team culture reasons, for impact reasons, for necessity reasons. And then there are trades that just make you scratch your head. Like, why did that team do what it did? And the answer ultimately leads back to because it is that team. I got to come back to the trade that broke the internet, my man. The Dallas Cowboys traded Micah Parsons and the impact that it is going to have for the Dallas Cowboys and talking specifically playoff hopes for the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. You being the resident Cowboys realist and fan should be able to provide a justification for this trade and how this is going to make the Cowboys better this season. And then speak in reality about how Micah's impact for the Packers is going to help them, even though it's going to put a huge dent in their pocket.
I mean, it's hard, man. It's hard being a resident Cowboy fan to sit in here and try to talk about how this trade helped the Cowboys because it really don't. But at the end of the day, I already said it's a team sport, and I really don't want to give him too much energy. My thing is how my offense is going to look. Honestly, we can sit here and talk about Micah Parsons, but the problem with the Cowboys last year, it wasn't as much the defense as it was the offense with Dak being hurt and all the other stuff, not having a viable running game, and that's what I'm looking more so. Micah Parsons is a distraction. It's what they call the red herring. I mean, because again, it's still 10 other players out there in the field, and yes, he's a once in a lifetime generational player, but still. We had Micah Parsons the last couple of years. We still ain't won no playoffs. I mean, yeah, he got his numbers here and there, and then he wasn't getting the calls that he was getting in the past. Micah, the numbers started to go down, and Micah was hurt. Me personally, I want to see how the Cowboy offense bounce back with Dak coming down, and you got George Pickens on one side, and you got CeeDee Lamb. Because CeeDee Lamb, I said it, and I said it again, he was never receiver number one in my eyes. By now having George Pickens over there, now Dak got options. I just really feel he has options, and I think we're going to see a better offense. My thing is how this running back game situation is going to look. I mean, if we really want to talk about the Cowboys, as far as the Green Bay, I think it's going to help them out, but Micah Parsons used to play in the indoor stadiums. It get cold in Green Bay. I want to see how he played in. Oh, yes. Most of his games, he might be dealing with some injuries because of most of his games will be played outside in the elements. Chicago, where he got to play Chicago outside, and he got to play all those games up in Green Bay. You can say what you want to, but that cold weather plays a big factor when it. And he ain't had the ability to get acclimated to the area because we sit up here, we wait too long to do this draft. So. I leave it at that. I mean, he's a beast. He played at Penn State. I know he played in cold weather, but he's been playing down in Dallas the last couple of years, chilling in an air-controlled, climatized building. So for me, I want to see what my offense is going to do. I want to see what the offense is like, and are we going to be able to establish a running game? I think the defense is going to be okay. I really do. Honestly, we're going to miss Micah Parsons, but I still think my defense is going to be okay. Man. And we would not be, and I'm going to shut up, we would not be the number 3 team in the NFC East. It would still be between us and the Eagles. Mark my word. I say here, today, August the 29th, the 2 top teams in the NFC East will be the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. The Commanders, watch and see. Sophomore slump. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow.
Bold statement.
That is a bold statement at the top of the season, man. One, I think you done fell and bumped your head, but because there's no way that the Commanders are going to have a sophomore slump to the level to where the Cowboys will be relevant. 2, if that is not the most Jerry Jones answer I could hear from a Cowboys fan in that rundown, where you were
Don't
talking.
compare, please don't compare me to Jerry Jones. Don't do that, man.
Hold on, no. You are talking about the temperature is going to affect the way Micah Parsons plays. Man, if you don't stop, the
Don't do that.
Cowboys, we know. Okay, the Cowboys took the hit. The Cowboys, this does not look good for the Cowboys. This does not look good for Jerry Jones. This trade does not make the Cowboys better in the short term, does not make the Cowboys better in the long term, because the two draft picks that you are going to have in next year and the year after the draft, you're going to obviously package those two picks with your first round pick, if you have first round picks of your own, to get a better position in each one of those drafts. Got it. But it still may not address what you need in the interim. And during that time, you have a rookie head coach with a whole new system that he's trying to implement. Yes, Griff, you made mention of the Cowboys offense being something that should be not only proficient, but keep the Cowboys in the game regardless of how the defense is doing. The Cowboys are not going to be a terrible team. No, you're right about that. They're not going to be a top two team in the AFC or the NFC East, but this is going to work out better for the Green Bay Packers in my professional and humble opinion, as one would say, because Micah Parsons, regardless of whether or not it's 50 degrees, 60 degrees, 70 degrees, or whether it's 30 degrees in January when he is playing in Green Bay, but inside in Minnesota, inside in Detroit, and I don't know when the schedule has Green Bay visiting Chicago this season, whether it's early in the season or later on in the season, but I'm pretty sure the adrenaline is going to keep him warm while he's not on the field to keep him active if he is healthy, as you like to say, since now that he's out the door, y'all got concerns about his health, and he wasn't a good teammate in the locker. And
I never said that. I never said that. I never said he wasn't a good teammate. I never said that.
Okay, but no. This is going to be a plus for the Green Bay Packers in the first 2-3 years for them in this trade, simply because they have that 3-year window now with Jordan Love and that very, very, very proficient Green Bay offense. We can't forget they still won 11 games last year, even with the troubles that Jordan Love had with turnovers sometimes. He is a year older, a year wiser, a year more experienced, and is going to be a year better. He stays healthy, you can pencil in Green Bay winning 12 to 13 games and be right there competing for the NFC North against Detroit, because Detroit going to be right there again, in my opinion, as long as they stay healthy. They're going to be right there at 12, 13 wins as well. So look for Green Bay and Detroit to compete for the NFC North title. Dallas, unfortunately, is going to be mired in third in the NFC East, because both Philly and Washington are going to be just as good as they were last year, in my opinion. Now, trades such as what happened with Micah kind of blew the top off the NFL yesterday, right? And it was like, man, kind of saw that coming. Could have made that happen 6 months ago. You could have got a lot more bang for your buck. The trade that was not even a trade, it was just a free agent signing that could or could not have an impact, that I really wanted to kind of give a little bit of attention to, was A.A. Ron's arrival in Steel Nation, and whether or not A.A. Ron can capture what A.A. Ron once had when he was a resident of Green Bay, and ensure that Mike Tomlin has another successful year, another winning season. This will be year 19. But make sure that the Pittsburgh Steelers are not only competitive in one of the most competitive divisions in football, but be right there in January competing for a deep run into the NFL playoffs. Can A.A. Ron recapture the light that he once had, Griff, and stay healthy enough? Because he's still, okay, we're a year removed from that Achilles. You're fully back. That's what be the expectation from what all of the preseason reports say even though he has not played in any of the preseason games, the zip is still there on the ball. He can still get it to his desired receiver, which Pittsburgh brought in a huge favorite word of the night receiver in the offseason. So does Aaron bring the Steel Nation back to a real threat in the AFC North, or is it still Baltimore and Cincinnati's division to win?
No, I'm not sold on Cincinnati. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. They didn't do anything in the offseason as far as shoring up that defense, and that offensive line still looks sucker. I would say, man, the problem that the Steelers had last year was at the quarterback position, and then they didn't have a true threat at the receiver position. I think by getting DJ Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers, I mean, you can't count the brother out. I can recall. People can say what they want, but I know what he can do to you firsthand if given the opportunity. I think I would like to see what the Steelers look like with Najee Harris being gone, and they strictly dependent on Warren right now. I think the running game will keep Aaron. If they're able to establish a run, we already know what type of defense they play with Watts over there, and that defense is still going to be one to be reckoned with. I just I don't think they took a step back. I think they're gonna be okay. I'm looking to see it. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Cincinnati. I know that you got your boy Joe over there, and you loyal to him and stuff like that. But Cincinnati that hasn't done anything to show me that they're gonna be a team to be reckoned with in that conference in that division.
Man, and that might be the second time tonight that the CBSA analogy actually has an impact. What's the name of that book? One more time.
So talk about it, be about it.
That's right, man. So that reminds me for any and all who want to do some fantasy football. We do have a fantasy football league. The link has been shared on the fantasy football league page or the Roundtable Facebook page. Just click on that link before the draft, which is tomorrow. I don't know why Griff said that draft at 6:00 tomorrow when Alabama's going to be right there trying to figure out whether or not they can come back from a third quarter turnover to win the game. You got it, Griff. I guess you just want a distraction away from the game, but we're gonna make it happen. Mine's gonna be on preset whatever. But anyways, Ron and the impact. A couple of weeks ago, was with the family at a family function, and I went out over a couple of my skis a little bit, like Griff did, talking about the Cowboys and whether or not the Cowboys are going to be second in the NFC East. I said that the Steelers were going to have a losing season. That was a couple of weeks ago, and sitting back thinking about it, and now listening to what you just said about the defense is going to be right there, and Mike Tomlin has the system, and the system is the system, and the standard is the standard, and whether or not you hold yourself to the standard, that's still on you, because depending on how good you are, you can get away with that. But at the same time, that's still Ron, right? And if he is healthy, you can kind of pencil in the defense creating a turnover for you once or twice a game. You have the ability to have Aaron Rodgers getting the ball to DK Metcalf on a 15, 20-yard slant or a post route, and DK Metcalf taking it to the house. So you have a game breaker on your offense. And Pittsburgh has traditionally been a running team. They are going to ensure that the philosophy remains the same to not only protect the quarterback, who is not as mobile as he once was, but a quarterback's best friend is a strong run game. And Pittsburgh has always been 50-50-ish, and that's not going to change. So I believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to ensure, as long as he stays healthy, that the Pittsburgh Steelers not only make it to a 9-8, 10-7 type season and or competitive in their division, because unfortunately, I think you're right. It's going to be a repeat for the Cincinnati Bengals. they haven't done anything other than playing with Trey Higginson in the offseason about not giving him his money. They haven't addressed any of the other deficiencies that they have on defense. We saw that in the preseason. It was like a running water faucet against the Commanders. So Joe going to be chasing it. Jamar Chase going to have big numbers again. He stays healthy. So I just don't see it. Cleveland, meh. The interest is going to be there about because of the next topic. So, but Aaron Rodgers should be good. Pittsburgh should get about 10, 11 wins and make the playoffs on the back end, but we'll talk about that much later on in the season. All right, now, big impact players in the National Football League. Every single year, we look for those rookies that are coming into the NFL and are going to be that rookie of the year, that offensive rookie of the year, that defensive rookie of the year, and whether or not they will help their team make it to the playoffs. What rookies this year are you looking to see that have that immediate impact, both on the offensive side? I know we have a number of quarterbacks up here, but any rookie that has that impact immediately.
I mean, it's, to be honest, one which most won't call him a rookie because he came into the league last year. But in my eyes, he's still a rookie. Is J.J. McCarthy because he didn't play. Him and Cam Ward, as of right now, the only two that's really gonna get an opportunity off the grip because all the other guys are in backup roles. I can see Shador possibly getting an opportunity to play because of where he sits. Where he sits on the depth chart because Flacco is, don't want to put that on him, but he one hit away of being hurt. And Dylan Gabriel, man, even though he's number 2 in the spot, I still feel Shador is the better of the two. Your guy down there, y'all done named Spencer Rattler as a starter, but I can see that your guy probably, that y'all got from Louisville, possibly by mid-season, if not earlier, taking that spot because I didn't see no spark from neither one of them quarterbacks that y'all got down there, to be honest. But that's a whole nother story. But if you ask me, man, J.J. McCarthy, he's still a rookie in my eyes because he didn't play his first season. And what he has up there, the squad he got around them, they should definitely be a force to be reckoned with. And then, but I think it's going to be a rough year for Cam Ward because of what he has. People just don't understand. People think when somebody's the number 1 pick, it's going to change the world, and it don't because the number 1 pick is going to the worst team in the league, man, and it's going to require it. I just don't think that they have anything around him. It's going to be a long year for that kid. So those are my 2.
Yeah, no, I believe you're right. J.J. McCarthy is a very excellent selection about being the primary focus for rookies coming into the season. I think the next most impactful rookie would be Travis Hunter, non-quarterback, because he's going to be able to play both positions, both on the offensive side and on the defensive side, and the impact that he has directly each game is going to help Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville take a step forward. But being specific to some of the quarterbacks that you see here listed, Cam Ward, he's going to have those struggles, but he's going to have very good numbers for a rookie. Better than what people think because the AFC South always kind of chews itself up, regardless of whether or not I'm at the top of the food chain or at the bottom of the food chain. They always play tough against each other, so he's going to be okay. Whether or not Shador and the Dylan Gabriel thing goes back and forth in Cleveland because, I believe both of them are going to get time to play this year because of Joe Flacco's maturity and the possibility of him getting hurt. So look for both of them having some playing time. But what I did see and notice here in the past couple of preseason games was that Stefanski has created an offense that caters to short, quick passes, both on the left side of the offense and in the center of the fields, whether or not it's slants or post routes that gets the ball out of Dylan Gabriel's hands quickly, right within that 1 to 3 second rhythm passing that kind of protects the quarterbacks, and you implement that with the run game, he could be okay when he gets that playing time. Shadur Sanders provides you that capability of opening the offense more, but he still needs to improve that ratio from receiving the ball to getting rid of the ball. You got to get rid of it sometimes, man. Don't stop eating that daggone ball while eating yards. So he's going to have impact as well. The guy on the very end, Jalen Milroe, whether or not he sees some quality time in Seattle depends on whether or not Sam Darnold stays healthy and has another productive year like he did last year. I think he's going to get some playing time because Sam Darnold is going to get a little nicked up a little bit playing in that tough NFC West defensive type of environment. So look for each one of these rookies, and the one that I did not talk about was the rookie down there in New York, right?
Dart.
Who?
Dart.
Yes, Dart. Yes, Dart from Ole Miss. Russ is there. Now, you talked about my Saints not having a starting quarterback, and I'm going to talk about them in a minute, but Dart showed promise in the preseason, as everybody knows. Russ is a confirmed starter. Russ is dependable. Russ will get you to, hey, we're going to be in the game every game and be competitive. I'm not going to possibly be the game breaker, but we all saw a couple of weeks ago, Russ still got that arm. Can Russ cook? We shall see. Does New York have what it takes? We shall see. Malik Neighbors is that number one target. I'm pretty sure Malik Neighbors and Russ have created a bond. I'm pretty sure Malik Neighbors and Jackson Dart have created a bond. So when Dart has that opportunity to play in this year, because it's going to come around week 7, 8, 6, 9, depending on how good New York is doing, look for him to have some type of success. So he's going to have an impactful year or two. So this rookie class is going to be impactful, but J.J. McCarthy is that guy that everybody's going to be keeping their eye on. So looking forward to it, man. I know that the opening game for the 2025 season for the NFL is 7 days away. 6 days away, depending on how you look at the calendar. And we started off talking about the Dallas Cowboys at the top of the show. Well, daggone it, we are talking about the Dallas Cowboys at the end of the show because it just so happens that they are part of the first game of the season, taking on the defending Super Bowl champions, a vaunted division rival that is part of a division that has not had a repeat division champ since 2000, right? No one in that division can win a division 2 years in a row. So if history is to be repeated, that means somebody other than the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win the division this year. But that's 18 weeks away. Opening weekend. Dallas is always in the news, but not always for the right reasons. On the field play, Griff, do y'all have a shot to go into Philly? Opening night, Thursday, prime time. The only game, the first game, where all of the talk is going to be about the Micah trade. How it has affected the team. Will it affect the team? How are your chances? Can you beat the Philadelphia Eagles? Can you be competitive? Is Dallas going to suck this year? Can we stop talking about y'all already in week 1? Or are y'all going to be relevant come Thanksgiving? All of that, go.
Look, man, the reason y'all the one, I mean, it's always the non-Cowboy fans that keep us in the conversation. Y'all love talking about us for whatever reason.
Wow.
It's like we live rent free in y'all head or whatever, man. Hey, it's football, brother. Anybody, how they say, any given Sunday or any given Thursday, anybody could win. I think with Micah Parsons being gone, does that affect the Cowboys' ability to put a little pressure and disrupt Jalen Hurts now? Yes, I think it does. I think the defense won't be as sharp. I just don't think the team is going to be as well gelled as they could have been if we didn't have all these distractions during training camp. I'm looking more to see what the Cowboys going to play against the Super Bowl winning team. I mean, the Eagles went, and not only did they look good, but they went and got some other key players. I mean, they went and got a guy like Mechie. I mean, again, I call it Alabama, Georgia, North, because that's all that they got over there right now on that squad. But I can't be mad at the team because the coach went and got people that's already been under coaches that understand the game. That's one less thing that those coaches got to teach. But as far as the Cowboys, man, I still think the Cowboys are going to be a team that we'll be talking about all season because it's just the Dallas Cowboys and it's Jerry Jones. He always found a way to stay in the news cycle. Are the Cowboys going to be relevant around Thanksgiving time? Yes, they will. They will be relevant around Thanksgiving time, regardless of what Troy say. He's again. Troy spent more time talking about my team than the team that his team, and that's the reason why his team always sucked. But I think the Eagles. I picked in the pick 'em. I picked the Cow. I mean, I picked the Eagles to win this game, even though it's my Cowboys is my team, and I'm a diehard Cowboy fan. I picked the Eagles to win this game, but I don't think this game is going to be a blowout like people think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a much closer game, and I think the Cowboys is going to come there and play much better than a lot of people give them credit.
No, you're right. It is going to be an interesting game. It's going to be an entertaining game because the Cowboys' offense is going to be a formidable offense, right? We talked about George Pickens' addition, CeeDee Lamb's number one receiver designation. Dak Prescott coming back off of an injury, refreshed, healthy, ready to go because this is our year. That's what I was told. So the Cowboys offense is going to be all in, right? And it's going to be that Cowboys defense that is going to have to figure it out on the fly, right? Because you have a new head coach, new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator, new offensive system, defensive system, new everything. And you still have somebody who is in charge that does not allow for the decision making to be made in such a way to where on the field performance is going to reflect good leadership. That is not going to happen for the Cowboys this year. You're not going to be number 2 in your conference. You're going to be mediocre. This game is not going to be entertaining after the half. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to blow y'all out. No, this should be a good game, man. But y'all are going to have issues just like every other team this year. Yes, you're going to be relevant when it comes to Thanksgiving time frame simply because of the drama associated with the Cowboys. But it's not going to be, in my opinion, in all honesty, because you're competitive within your division. Every team is one injury away from being derailed, but the Cowboys are literally going into the year hanging on by a thread. And a injury of any key player, y'all are done, son. So this game kicks off the NFL season. It's going to be an interesting game. We'll talk about it again next week prior to the game itself. But I just want to touch on it. We're going to, and I could change my mind. I could come in next week and say, hey, Cowboys, I think going to win this game, but right now I'm kind of leaning towards the defending Super Bowl champions. Next game I want to talk about and highlight, man, before we transition and close the show out, was the Sunday night game. This was the game of the year last year that proved to me that Lamar Jackson, LJ8 was either the best football player in the National Football League or Josh Allen was a legitimate MVP candidate and was worthy of the award when they met each other in the playoffs. This game ended in a way where who can you blame? Can you blame anybody? Is it a circumstance of it was cold weather? It was bad angle? Was Mark Andrews just in a way to where he couldn't have caught the ball? He should have caught the ball. He shouldn't have fumbled the ball. Was the turnover and the non-catch at the end of the game on a 2-point conversion the reason for the loss in the playoffs, or was it Buffalo just a better team? This is going to be a real rematch early on at the beginning of the NFL season. We talked about those early big games in college football, But this is a very, very, very big game that is going to have immediate impact, not only in each one of these teams' divisions, but their conference and across the NFL. Early season statement: whoever wins not only has a leg up in the number one overall season seed in the AFC, but has the ability to have that marketed win against a quality Super Bowl favorite, because both of these two teams are favored to make it to the Super Bowl. And next week we'll both go over, hey, who I think is going to win the Super Bowl. But both of these two teams have a legitimate shot of making it and winning. Man, what are you looking at in this game, Griff, to kind of give you an indicator to see who is going to be the true MVP going into 2025?
Well, first of all, let's let it be known. Could you tell everybody that's watching who Griff said was going to be the MVP last year when everybody was talking about Lamar? Who picked the MVP for last? Did I not say Josh Allen? I just need to hear that come from you, Drew. I just need to hear that.
Hey,
I
you remember early on in the show when I said that I have a photographic memory about certain things. I can remember it like it was 5 minutes ago. Well, I remember this conversation you and I had specifically. It was week 12.
Yeah.
Where whether or not who was the lead in the MVP conversation, whether or not it was Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. And at the time, Patrick Mahomes was in that conversation and Jared Goff. But it was more specific between those two. And it was based off of their performance. And I was like, man, Lamar Jackson, he got all of these touchdown passes and all of these yards running, even though Derrick Henry is having a bomb year. And they're in a better division.
Yeah, could you answer the question, man? Could you answer?
No, because I have to lead up to why I gave you your props, because not only did I say it was Lamar Jackson, and you immediately shut that down, and I said, well, I forgot. No, Griff got the email in week 12, ladies and gentlemen, week 12, that Josh Allen not only was going to be the NFL MVP, was going to win it in a way to where his numbers either matched and his teams matched Lamar Jackson, but they were going to beat them in the playoffs. So Griff called it.
Hey, since you only gave me a minute to talk, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, man. The reason why the Ravens lost this game last year, and we talked about this afterwards, because they stopped running the ball. They stopped giving the ball to the king. I can't put that on. Everybody want to put it on Mark Andrew. That's one play. But they was running the ball pretty good. But the guy that done got you almost 2,000 yards rushing in the season, you get into the playoffs and you stop handing the ball to him. So I'm pretty sure the Ravens offense, the coaches went back and they looked at it, and that's all they thought about all year. I think you're gonna see a heavy dose of King Henry. And and if we do get a heavy dose of King Henry based off the play that I seen the Buffalo, and plus Buffalo was on Hard Knocks, it's gonna be bad, bro. You know when you go on Hard Knocks,
Yeah, that's the best.
Your season is garbage.
Yeah.
So hopefully they learn from their mistakes last year in the playoffs. This definitely would be this is a prelude to a preseason. I mean a postseason game, a playoff game. But in my eyes, and I know we'll talk about it more next week, I think that the Ravens should win this game easily.
Easily. Wow. Now, I think it's going to be another tight game. You're absolutely right about the mistakes that Baltimore made in the playoffs last year. Todd Munchin and his play calling completely jacked up Baltimore's plan. Just completely taking Derrick Henry out of the game plan. I believe he had 14 carries, 80-plus yards. And we're like, why are we throwing the ball in the middle of a snowstorm when you have the best running back in the game right behind you, along with the best running quarterback? But, yeah, that is the reason why. You're right, Baltimore should win this game coming into the season, but we'll see next week. I don't think it is out of the realm of the possibility that you see these exact two teams playing each other in late January. for an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm looking forward to this particular game, looking forward to the conversation. Man, it was one heck of a show. I know we ran over on time, extended a couple of the topics, but it was worth it. Heck of a season premiere. I'm looking forward to the next 6 calendar months. And as we do at the end of every show, provide our closing comments. At certain points throughout the season, we'll each have an opportunity to talk about roundtable discussions in the form of individual corners. We've labeled Drew's Corner or Griff's Corner. We'll get into that later on in the season. Reminder about the Fantasy Football League. If you want to join, the link is on the Facebook page. Please continue to follow, share, and like all of our social media platforms. It's going to be a hell of a season. Griff, you got any closing comments for
I moved our fantasy football draft to Monday. I sent the link out to a whole bunch of people, and they said that they having problems. For everybody, I just sent the link. One, copy that link and put it in a browser. Don't try to do it from the messenger where I sent it to. Copy it and do it. The other thing, and Joe, we'll talk about this after the show. A lot of people reached out to me and said that they was having problems with the link to the show. I'm clicking on the link right now and it's working, but for whatever reason they said they was having issues. So the draft has been moved to Monday. I extended the draft to Monday. I sent out links again and just to see and make sure. But glad to be back, man. Glad to be talking football, man. This is when I have energy. This is when I have life, because football is life for me. And glad to be back on here with you, my brother.
Football is life.
Football is life.
Yes, it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I echo each and every one of those sentiments. The next 6 months will provide us an opportunity to come together at least twice a calendar week, depending on where we are in the month, what holiday falls on what day, and what we have planned between Griff and I and Jordan. And I personally am looking forward to the dialogue and the conversation that we will be able to have, the education that we will be able to teach and provide to each other, and the fun dialogue when these big games positively and sometimes not so positively affect our teams. I wish each and every team the best of success, both on the collegiate level and on the professional level and on the high school level which we did not talk about tonight. But we will touch on high school football periodically throughout the year. And looking forward to that conversation. Looking forward to the dialogue and the chat from everyone, and a great year ahead. So y'all continue to stay safe. Y'all be blessed. And we'll see y'all at the next show, which is the premiere of the NFL season, where we will have, ladies and gentlemen, the cultural best-selling author himself, Gary Griffin, talking about his book. What's the name of your book, Griff?
Don't talk about it, be about it.
Y'all be breezy.
Good job, Turbo. Good job.
I thought I told you time and time again that we won't stop. Back it show by show, I'm tryna triple and double the pot. Book for at least 6 figures, a show or more for him on now. 6 figures. Hooping at 25 rows, all great interior whenever it's